The cybersecurity landscape in Australia is very interesting at the moment. We're seeing lots of strong government drivers coming out, the cyber strategy coming out, trying to execute that across the complex cyber landscape within Australia. We've got industries talking more and more to each other. We're seeing more conferences, more sharing of ideas around security. We've got a very active startup, entrepreneurial, if you want, concept around security. Great companies like Ditno, for example, coming out and bringing this new technology into the marketplace. In addition, there's very strong drivers for cyber education, bringing up the next generation of cyber professionals into the marketplace, and companies are very active in that. We're also looking at bringing people across from other industries into cyber to bring their risk knowledge, their legal knowledge, to help us protect Australia's infrastructure. But in saying that, we still need to be aware of what's happening in other countries. Other countries might be leading the way. We need to learn from their successes and their mistakes and apply that more effectively within Australia. We're seeing at the moment a large increase in ransomware attacks, so targeting information, not taking the information away, but encrypting it so it's not accessible anymore. And then the criminals demanding a payment to release the information to make it free again. We're seeing a lot of that. However, there's a common theme through many attacks, and that's the human element. You can always attack the weakest link. What I like to say, the carbon unit between the chair and the keyboard is something you can attack. That's been prevalent for years, and that's not changing. So you want to attack a company, attack the individual, get them to do something on your behalf, provide you with information, or click on that link within the email, which leads to the environment being compromised. The obvious answer is that you can pay the ransom and then you've got a clear financial statement or line on your financial books that says what that cost you. $70,000 to release your data, it's a $70,000 line item. If you don't pay that, and I'm not encouraging people to pay it, but then it becomes a much more difficult equation to work out, because you've not only got the expenses around the people involved in dealing with the incident, the time they spent, there's also things to consider like brand value and share price, and how do you measure the reputation lost if you've been attacked by a successful cyber attack? How many customers have you lost? It's always difficult within our industry to put true dollar values on the cost of information or the price of information, the value of information to the organization. But if you have that good cybersecurity practice around it, you can limit all those costs. So there's always been an issue with company directors being aware of the cyber problem or having cyber awareness themselves. They need to reach out to their teams and get education from the people controlling security and what security means to the organization. But it has to work both ways. You've got to have the business leaders articulating the business direction to the security teams, and the security teams then articulating back to the board how they can protect the business as they move forward, perhaps adopting disruptive technologies or moving into an acquisition space, how they can protect the organization around that. And it needs to be articulated in the way that the board understands. So I would say I would engage with the security officers within the organization and start asking them questions. Where do my critical assets lie in this organization? Perhaps even the board members could drive the conversation from a position of what's the worst case scenario that would kill my share price or end my business or damage my business strategy, and start having that dialogue. Hopefully the security team can articulate that in a manner they understand, and then they start building up that picture of why cyber protection is important, and then from that they understand what the cyber threat is and how vulnerable they are. For me, the 3 red flags of an organization not being prepared for cyber is the first time a board discusses it is after they've read something in the newspaper. Perhaps their competitor has been hit, or there's something in their industry is happening. The second one is that security teams aren't talking across the organization. They're operating too much in a silo. They're not speaking to procurement. They're not speaking to legal from a privacy perspective. They're not speaking to marketing and sales teams to see what's happening across the organization. And the third marker is they don't have a tried and tested incident response plan. We say you're either breached or you don't know you're breached. So having all that preparedness in place to deal with an incident is key, because that's what protects the organization. There's a culture within many organizations to identify the security person as being ultimately responsible for the security of information within the organization. That culture needs to change. It needs to change as quickly as possible. The mindset everybody needs to have is of the information owner. If you are creating information for the organization, you are ultimately responsible for the security of that information. You should be using the security team as a resource to help you protect that information, because it's your information, it's the business's information. You shouldn't assume that the security team is going to take care of that information for you. If you feel your information isn't being protected enough, reach out to your security team, ask them for guidance. Don't assume that they're going to give you that security by default. Optus wants to partner with our customers on a cybersecurity journey. We don't want to sit there and provide you with a silver bullet security solution, because there is no silver bullet, because we're not really fighting werewolves. We want to go on a journey with our customers. We want to understand their business objectives, and we want to align a security solution to those objectives. So we will look at the risk landscape. We'll provide them with threat monitoring, what's going on in the environment. We want to give that feedback to the customers so they see that single pane of glass, that picture of what's happening in their environment. We are the data carrier. We own the underlying network. We will layer our security on top of that for our customers so they get as early warning as possible of what's going on in their environment. We want to offer threat intelligence, that over the horizon view of what's going on. This is a problem that's going to grow. There's going to be a wider target landscape. It's not just IT systems, it's operational technology. There's always the people element. So we constantly want to upskill individuals through education programs and bring in new individuals to help them protect the organization.